Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, and today I'm going to give you another update regarding The Mandalorian Season 2. We got some pretty exciting news for you guys today, but before I get into the video, please may I ask you to hit like on this video, to subscribe to my channel if you're new, and also please consider becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. For just $2 a month, you can help to support my channel and get exclusive access to content that's not found here on YouTube. But without further ado, let's get back into it. So our first article comes from Inverse, and they've been talking about a potential plot twist regarding Palpatine for The Mandalorian Season 2. The title of the article reads, Mandalorian Season 2 trailer teases a huge Palpatine twist. Now before I read it to you guys, I just want to say, I don't know about you, but while I think that they are going to link the Skywalker saga to The Mandalorian, and I do think it will be through Palpatine and Camino and cloning, I don't personally want to see too much Skywalker saga in The Mandalorian.
No, God!
I think The Mandalorian being its own thing is much more ideal. As Star Wars fans, we kind of have a bad taste in our mouths after the sequel trilogy, and for God's sake, just let Palpatine die already. I mean, I know he's still coming back to life at this point in the timeline because it's before, the rise of Skywalker, but for goodness sake, we don't need to see him again and again and again. I just don't want to see another Star Wars thing completely dominated by the same narrative that it was all Palpatine's doing. Just give us something new, give us a new antagonist. So with that being said, let's get into what the article says. So it states that The Mandalorian Season 2 is nearly here. After months of apprehension amongst fans about potential delays, Disney Plus finally announced a release date, October 30th. It's also revealed a new trailer full of jokes, action, and Baby Yoda. It also contained a pretty big clue about a possible return to a planet we've seen before. Here's a hint, it's a place that has a lot of Jedi secrets and may have also been a hideout for a presumed dead Emperor. In the trailer for The Mandalorian Season 2, Din Djarin and the child traverse many planets, including one that looks an awful lot like Ilum. One of the settings looks rather unfamiliar, but appears to be an ultra-populated city. There aren't that many planets in Star Wars with the same kind of landscape, so the first one that comes to mind is Coruscant. Redditor King Greystone 555 took this assumption and ran with it, suggesting Mando and Baby Yoda are on Coruscant to break into the Jedi Temple. While the temple was a sacred place before the establishment of the Empire, after Palpatine took over, he converted it into his own personal palace. The theory suggests that our heroes will have to pull off a heist in order to obtain some of the information kept by the Jedi to find more Force users like Baby Yoda. If Mando needs to break into the temple, he'd need help from a local. That could be why he's strolling through what appears to be the Coruscant slums. Now, before I carry on with this article, I will say I'm not convinced it is Coruscant. It looks a lot more like Corellia. At this point in the Star Wars timeline, Palpatine is thought to be dead, but Rise of Skywalker proved that wasn't true at all. He's alive, just in a clone body, and unless he takes a trip to his old stomping ground, presumably he's still hiding out on Exegol. However, Palpatine could still make an appearance through The Mandalorian, be it through possibly a hologram showing the way to the Jedi sorcerers made during the Great Jedi Purge of Order 66, or even flashbacks as the Mandalorian explores his former palace. While Ian McDiarmid has not been attached to the project, it could be that he's making a small cameo as the Emperor. Now, like I said, I don't want the Emperor in The Mandalorian, and I'm pretty sure a lot of fans are with me on this. We've done it to death. We've done the whole Palpatine thing. He was behind 9 films. It just isn't so much of a surprise anymore. And to me, it just seems like Disney's get out of jail card when they can't come up with an antagonist good enough. They're just like, oh, well, it was Palpatine all along. No, let's not have Palpatine again, for the love of God. Just don't put him in The Mandalorian, and if you do, have it as a small mention. Of course, he was an important part in Star Wars on the whole, but do we need Palpatine again behind everything? Please, please, please just let The Mandalorian be its own thing. It's doing fantastically as it is, and we seem to be getting a lot of fan service in the season 2 anyway, so do we need Palpatine? No. Sabine Wren and Ilum and Boba Fett and Ahsoka are enough. We don't need another Skywalker saga person to be behind everything. But something tells me that Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm on the whole had this planned for season 1 as well. Something just tells me they chose the Yoda species so that they could link it to Yoda and cloning and Camino and Emperor Palpatine. I just have a feeling they had this planned in the blueprint for The Mandalorian, and they're just going to drop it on us in season 2. As fans were pretty sick to death after The Rise of Skywalker, they didn't do it well. What makes them think that doing this will do any good for The Mandalorian? The great thing about The Mandalorian is it was taking Star Wars in a brand new direction, where we didn't really have to think about all of the tie-ups with, the prequels, the sequels, the original trilogy. We obviously got the species and the planets of those, but that's enough. You don't need to introduce characters that are behind the plot that we've already seen die over and over. And of course I'm talking about Palpatine. So yeah, please just don't include Palpatine in The Mandalorian, but let's be honest, it might be a possibility. So the next thing on the agenda of today's Mandalorian Season 2 update is about Rex. A lot of people have been speculating that Captain Rex, Commander Rex, whatever you want to call him, from the Clone Wars is going to be in The Mandalorian Season 2. And while it looked hopeful when Dave Filoni dropped hints that he was toying with the idea of introducing him in The Mandalorian Season 2, I just don't see it happening for a couple of reasons. First of all, because of accelerated aging, it doesn't seem likely that Rex would be alive. And also, how in the world would he play into the story? A lot of people seem to think that because of the rumours of Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka, which hasn't been confirmed by the way, that they think that all of the characters that she knew would also be in it, with Bo-Katan, Sabine Wren, etc. Sabine is probably going to be in it for sure, and perhaps even Ahsoka might be in it. However, I just don't see how it's possible that we're going to get Rex in The Mandalorian Season 2. I think the possibility that he could be in it comes with the fact that Tamara Morrison, who's going to play Boba Fett, might just kill two birds with one stone and have Rex in Season 2, and in that sense that would be a good idea. But the way that they should do it, if he will be in Season 2, is in a flashback. Show them the Republic, show them what the Clone Wars were like. But unless Rex set up some retirement clone trooper camp on Tatooine or something, we're not going to get to see Rex. And I think people should just, put this rumor to bed at this point. If we do get him, it'll be a nice little surprise. I can't see it happening if I'm being completely honest. And it's kind of just hopeful fan service at this point. And it's fans just making empty assumptions based on one premise. We have no idea if even Ahsoka is going to show up in Season 2, and for that matter, Rex even. And I've said this before in another Mandalorian Season 2 update last week. We've had so much speculation for The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens. A lot of people were like, Vader's going to appear and live action Anakin's going to appear. And while we didn't get anything except for just a voice cameo of Hayden Christensen in The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans were disappointed because this kind of speculation doesn't make any sense until it's confirmed from Lucasfilm. We can be hopeful for some of the cameos though for Season 2, but I'm just going to say right now that Rex is not a hopeful one. And the final news story that I have for you guys today is about Star Wars Squadrons, the upcoming game. And this is a great article from Screen Rant which talks about the 10 things you might have missed in the Star Wars Squadrons cinematic. So it states, the Star Wars Squadrons cinematic revealed a lot about the game, so we're breaking it all down for fans. Star Wars Squadrons is the latest canon game to be based in galaxy far, far away. While plenty has been revealed about gameplay itself with various trailers and snippets of footage from walkthroughs, EA recently released a short cinematic film that sought to set the atmosphere for this upcoming console experience. Aside from featuring all the vehicles you may expect from this latest game, as well as some TIE Fighter and X-Wing pilots, it's also managed to cram in numerous details about what this new Star Wars story is all about. From one of the new planets introduced to the main character in the game, there are plenty of details that fans may have missed from the cinematic. Number 10, Varco Grey. Varco Grey is an original character that looks to be the main part of Star Wars Squadron. Introduced in the cinematic for the first time, viewers learn a few things about Grey very early on and his standing in the Empire. He's incredibly loyal to the Emperor and what's left of what he built, but clearly isn't important enough to have been saved. His determination suggests he will rise up the ranks quickly, but when audiences first meet him, he's a talented TIE Fighter pilot. Number 9, Star Destroyer Calamity. Early on in the trailer, the voiceover suggests that the Empire can't lose any more Star Destroyers. Throughout the course of the cinematic, they lose a Star Destroyer, causing heavy damage to the forces that the Empire have built. Clearly, the Empire has had some serious calamities after the Battle of Endor. This is apparently one of the many skirmishes taking place as the rebels seek to completely extinguish any spark of rebellion that could lead to the rise of a new villainous regime. Number 8, Reminiscence of Jakku. While Jakku is an important part of the sequel trilogy, the Battle of Jakku is a key narrative beat in the Aftermath trilogy of books. The events taking place in this cinematic are very reminiscent of Jakku itself and what is to come. Number 7, Empire on the Edge. Ever since the prequels, the Empire have secretly been building themselves up from the shadows of Coruscant and beyond. However, after the Battle of Endor, the Empire are finally on the back foot, no longer controlling their own fate. It's clear to see that they are rattled as they actually abandoned multiple members of their crew in order to save another Star Destroyer. This is a tactical maneuver rarely seen but demonstrates the desperation in their latest skirmishes. Number 6, Varsha. Varsha is introduced as the planet early into the trailer and is the place that Varco Grey eventually crashes. It perhaps is a more important location than audiences realise, as it's an original planet for the Star Wars Squadrons game. It seems odd that the creators of the cinematic would form a brand new planet just for a short film. Clearly it will play a larger part in the story, perhaps serving as the base to start rebuilding the Empire from the remnants. Number 5, hierarchy in place. Despite the initial collapse of the Empire, Grey still reports to someone more senior who is calling the shots, which is surprising considering the state of the fallen Empire in other parts of the galaxy. Number 4, a personal fraud. The fight is no longer just for the fate of the galaxy, as it becomes extremely personal now that the rebels are in control. The fact that one X-Wing pilot actually breaks away to hunt down a final TIE pilot is a departure from their usual tactics. Number 3, the future isn't lost. The fact that a voice from beyond starts trying to communicate with Grey through his headset, and that he has a refusal to give up on the war, suggests that the Empire have a lot more fight in them, contributing to the upcoming story. There's a determination that has been seen from the Empire yet, because they haven't had their back up against the walls before. The combination of that and their desperation might make them quite a unique foe in Squadrons. Number 2, the R2 unit. One little gameplay detail that may reveal a customization option for players is that the X-Wing featured actually had an R2 series astromech droid accompanying the pilot. Unfortunately, he meets a horrible fate with his head being blown off. On the other hand though, this does suggest that players will be able to choose their own droid to accompany them, but that they could likely be lost in battle since the cinematic is aiming to mimic the gameplay features. And finally, number 1, new capabilities. With a new Star Wars game comes new gameplay options. It seems that there's a variety of capabilities in the TIE Fighter that players may not have seen before. Throughout the cinematic, they were impressive movements designed to throw off the opponent. So there you have it, guys. It's a very anticipated game and I think it's going to be awesome. I don't usually cover too much about Star Wars gaming on my channel, but this was one that I didn't think that you guys could miss, and it seems really awesome. So that's all from me. I really hope you enjoyed my video. Like I said, if you did, hit like on this video, subscribe to my channel if you're new, comment down below, and I will see you next time. I'm Star Wars Meg. My Patreon link is in the description, and let me take this opportunity to thank each and every one of my patrons, especially my new patrons. Welcome aboard. I really hope you like what I do on this channel and also on my Patreon page. So have a fantastic rest of the day, no matter where you are in the galaxy. I'm Star Wars Meg.